Craig Rowan, being reliable as fuck is hugely important to you. When did that become a massive value in your life?
Oof, well, great question. Out the blocks. When did that? I think it was turning around 40. I think that was a seismic time for me. Not necessarily because of the age. It was just started to make aware of who I am, what was I going to achieve in life, and by this point, then my second child had came along, Brody, my son had came along, and it was basically showing up for them, showing up for my wife Laura, showing up for the kids, and start acting on what I said I was going to do, or acting what I was thinking I was going to do.
The art of doing what you said you would is hugely important in our coach's circle, Paul Mott. But there's something magical about that phrase, right?
Oh, hugely. Do what you said you would. It's so simple, so hard hitting. And for me, it's a question that you can come back to all the time. Um, I, you know, the phrase, I've still got the T-shirt that Paul gave us a few years ago, and I wear it around the house a lot. And I had the sticker as my screensaver for a while, and it's just having that thing because it's easy to drift off. It's easy to, go off course. And that gentle reminder, whether it's on the logo on a T-shirt or the sticker or written on a board, the message is clear. Um, yeah, do what you said you would. Talk, walk the walk, talk the talk. As I like to use it. Yeah.
Why do you think? So I've noticed it in my clients and something that it would have been a trait of mine maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I would turn up and let's just say I'd meet, plan to meet a mate for a coffee or say that I'd go around and help cut my grandma's hedge or whatever it would be. I'd turn up for that, like no dramas whatsoever. But turning up for yourself, like the promised gym session, the making sure you do the extra reach out or for yourself reaching out to an investor in the next property investment. Why is it that people struggle to turn up for themselves rather than actually turning up for other people?
Um, Great question. For me, I think it's that it makes you get immediate gratification for helping someone else. That is a natural thing. It is, it does feel good if you can help other people. And I know it tends to be you're a people pleaser. You can, you know, listen to that person's problems, be there for them, be the support, help with, if they, whatever they need help with physically, emotionally, you're there, whether it's your partner, whether it's your kids, whether it's your best mates. That just because you ultimately get something back is that you are helping and supporting someone. When you have to work on yourself and do it, that's hard work. And
Yeah.
nobody sees that. And you're not applauding yourself and you're not getting the gratification of that it's not as instant. It's a constant process. So probably, yeah, reaching out for others and helping others, you're getting a bit more of an instant gratification, which, we know in this day and age is everything and people are addicted to it. So that would probably be my response to it, my thought on it.
It's so important that you get the balance right in it. I didn't have this segment planned really. It just came up off the top of my head and in my head there when you were answering, I was like, yeah, you're so right. Like the even if you were to buy like I always tell the story when I was at my lowest, I'd always actively try and help other people like who really needed help. So if I saw like a homeless person, I was feeling really fucking shit, I'd just buy them a donut and a drink because you'd get that instant kind of gratification of you've done a good deed. And it in some ways like there's some selfishness to that.
Mhm.
Um but in a good way. Like it's like good selfishness, right? Just the same as putting a boundary in place so you can keep your gym sessions up and keep your keep your self pride protected and looked after, like in a relationship that maybe isn't going to plan and all of those kind of things. But at the same time, as much as turning up for yourself is important, there's like a huge balance between like doing too much for yourself and then obviously showing up for other people as well.
Oh, absolutely. Getting that tightrope. walking that tightrope is the hardest part. That we know, and well, I think that the easy part is giving too much to others and not enough time for yourself. You focus all on yourself, and especially when you've got responsibilities, whether it's, you've got a partner, you've got a wife, you've got a husband, you've got kids, you've got family. If you become selfish, that defeats the whole purpose. Yeah,
Mm.
you could be, fantastically fit and strong. Your mindset could be bulletproof. But if if you don't have those personal connections because you're being, selfish, then what's the point really? You end up being that, on your own, essentially the lone wolf, where, nothing can hurt me now kind of thing. But you need that interaction as well, and you need to think of your closest, your nearest and dearest, as well as about yourself. So it is a tightrope. You can't just say it's all about me. You've got to think you get that balance right.
Yeah, it's unreal. And one thing I want to get out into the episode and into the listeners' ears straight away is that there's nobody that I've wanted to speak to more recently than you, mate. Especially since the I heard you talk at Unstoppable X, amazing speech. We'll get into the your kind of like one-liner punch, yeah, your punch phrase or your phrase in a minute. But being a property developer, investor, flipper, whatever the word that you want to use for whatever you do, mate, it puts you in some really like high pressure, high stress environments. What have you learnt from doing that that maybe a general self-development book or business guru wouldn't tell you that you've learnt just off the face of things?
I mean, learned so much about myself. As far as the as far as the business side of things is, delivering for the people that you're working for is, you know, talk is cheap. So it's easy for people to promise the earth. In my game, you've got people who are, we'll call them property professionals, and there's many different guises to that. And they'll say we can achieve X in so many months. You can buy this amount of properties. I can help you get this. I can help you get that. I can help you, get X on your returns. Again, it's talk is cheap. It's actually delivering that. And I've seen in the property game people come and go and talk an amazing game and say that they've done X and they've done Y, or they'll do X for their clients or Y, and it doesn't materialize. So I learned firsthand from not only, wanting to do well myself, but also seeing the pitfalls and over promising and under delivering, is that do what you said you would. So if I'm going to work with an investor and I'm asking people to put their trust in me, whether that's, I'm in the early days, it was finding them a project, or finding them a property that they could rent out, or laterly, it's asking them to invest their hard-earned funds into my projects. My sole focus is that they become first. I come second, because property is a long-term game. It's in the long term. I need to deliver for them. If Because my word is everything, and especially in this game, and especially how I've approached the game, and which I might can maybe come up later on. I'm working with people I know. I'm working with people in my community. I decided early on that my focus was going to be to grow my portfolio, my business locally, and also work with people locally, investors, so they got a buy it and they could see it and touch what I'm actually talking about. It wasn't just some, you know, property that is hundreds of miles away that they've only seen pictures of, or only seen a video of. They could actually come and see it. So the first outlook was, if I'm going to do this, I need to be able to deliver. I need to do what I said I was going to do. And it's really tied back to what we started with. So delivering on what I said I was going to do, um, not being a bullshitter, and I don't know if I can swear, but
Yeah, you can. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not just opening my mouth and letting my belly rumble, as one of my old sayings that I got passed on, is that, the world is full of it on social media. So I learned that not to over leverage as well, because I've seen in the game where people have rushed out the traps and I'm going to do X amount of deals, Y amount of deals. This is a long-term game. the get rich quick in property is a myth. So take your time, make sure the numbers stack, make sure that you repay your investors, or certainly do what you said you're going to do. And over time, that will pay off for you.
I'm real, man. In the property game, and especially with what you do, there's deadlines, there's pressure from the people that are obviously investing in you. You clearly put pressure on yourself, which again we could probably talk till the cows come home, like whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But on those days where like motivation disappears and maybe the energy isn't as high as you want it to be, how do you manage that stress? How do you manage that pressure, especially the pressure you put on yourself?
Yeah, that is frequent in this game. I'm going to be really honest. In the life of a property deal, the excitement's right at the start.
Yeah.
Chasing that deal, doing the numbers, negotiating, getting the deal agreed, getting a hold of that property, that drives you. Or you skip out of bed. You jump out of bed. There's your work. It's not work. That's it for me. Then comes the big part, which is for us in the main, it's the refurbishment. It's doing the place up. It's getting it to the certain standard. That's boring. That's working with trades. It's monotonous. It's time consuming. It's costly. It's boring. So that's where the dip comes. It's no flashy reels at this point. It's no, it's like you're in the game. Um, Again, it's just that people are relying on me. I think pushes me on
Yeah.
is that I'm here to deliver for my clients, for my investors. I'm here to deliver for my family. Um, there isn't the time to wallow. And listen, I get hours and days which aren't great. I'm not got this nailed. There's days where you think the whole world is going to cave in on you, but you just remember it's a push of the comfort zone. It's a difficulty. This too shall pass. Whatever the saying is, it is just negative thoughts. It's your mind telling you the worst case scenario. Which, if you don't catch that, you can end up going down a path that really, sends you off guard. And you know that, you've my skills and my experience is that you keep going, you keep working, you just take the small steps, and over time you get to where you need to go. It's not short term, it's not a quick fix, it's not a get rich quick, it is a long game. There is always going to be challenges. And when you look back, the challenges is what makes the project what it is. If it was easy, Harry, like anything, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah, yeah. And that leads really nicely into my next question that I had in my head there. You hear a lot of conversation, don't you? I mean, obviously you're in the game now, but I hear a lot of conversation within family circles, within friendship circles, that kind of like everybody's kind of like big dream is, oh, I'd love to get into property one day. Like, buying the cheap property, doing it up, selling it or renting it out and all of those kind of things. But what would you, like, I guess it's more of a general question, but what would you say to somebody that genuinely is thinking about going into that game? Like not warning, but what reality statements would you give them before you get into it?
One of my favorite lines. If you want to get into property and you listen to the gurus that it's passive, um, my response to that is pish.
Pish.
There's a
That's so
lovely,
Scottish, man.
a lovely Scottish phrase
Yeah,
for rubbish, right?
yeah,
Well, just there is no such thing as passive in property, or certainly the majority of it. Okay, property is, you think back of people who had the buy-to-lets, who had the property portfolio, and they maybe rode around in the Jag and they were on holidays, and in a time, in a day, in a place, that probably was the case, and it was potential to earn, put money aside, build a deposit. The game's changed dramatically now with, the economic climate, with house prices, with governments who are making it more difficult for landlords to make money. So if you are serious, and listen, it's gonna give me the future that I want. It's almost there already. It could set my family up for the next generation at least. But if you are going to do it, be prepared that it is tough, it is time consuming, it isn't always going to work, it is going to cost you money, it is going to give you sleepless nights. It's like, and If you are prepared to do that on top of either your 9 to 5 or your current career or growing another business and trying to be healthy, be present, be a family person, see your friends. If you want to then throw another full-time gig on top, which property is, good luck. But it wipes 98% out. 98% of people are not prepared to put that in. So they will continue to tell themselves that they're going to do it one day when I've got my ducks in a row, when I've got a bit more time, when I've got a bit more money. And what it becomes is just another one, a bit like what I told myself long enough. I'm going to lose that 2 stone, 3 stone. I'm going to, get that weight off. It's very similar. You can't lose weight without putting the work in. Maybe people disagree on that at the minute now with what's going on, but you had to work hard. It's the same with property. You're not going to build a property portfolio. You're not going to be in property unless you put the hard yards in alongside everything else that you're going to do.
I think it's really for my own benefit. I want to ask for yourself, mate. Where did the dream of getting into property start for you? Like, what was the first moment you realized, oh, I'm good at this, and B, yeah, this life is for me.
Mhm. So fortunately was around it from an early age where my dad, as what, I tell the story, you would call him an entrepreneur. Now he was a wheeler dealer, probably back in the 80s. He fell into property by chance because he had bought shops that had businesses in, and then bought the flat above it, and then bought my grand and grandpa's house, and he moved into property. And then I moved into the finance world, leaving school. I mean, again, messed around, didn't do particularly well, but fell into finance where I was in banks and building societies, started as a cashier, worked my way up to branch manager and obviously a mortgage broker. So I was like, okay, so I see my dad doing this and I see people doing it, and I know the mortgage game. I'm going to do it. So I bought my first buy to let. Not long after buying my first house, managed to get a second buy to let. Thought I was a baller, Harry. Thought I had it made. Didn't need, this is easy. Um, and financial crash happened in 2008. It set me back professionally. It set me back personally and made me very risk averse. But I'd managed to hold on to my buy to lets. And over the course of the 2010s, I still seen that my properties were doing well. They were increasing in value. My dad's was that was his kind of life. My mum and dad's at the time, and I thought to myself, yeah, this is the game. And I thought it was easy, and so it was always one of them things that was a fallback. Am I good at it? You're only as good as your next deal. I don't, I'll never take credit for something that, it could easily go wrong if you don't stay on the game. So I'll never give myself too much credit on that. I think you just, yeah, I'm pleased with what I've done and I'm really happy with my track record, but you have to keep working at it. But if I come round, it's something that I'd seen for a while. We know the stats, we know the figures, we know that property's the number one asset class. It's only going one route. So that really is what got my juices flowing and kept me in the game. Have I wanted to cash the chips in at times? Have I wanted to chuck the towel in? 100%. And I probably think it, we're just about to start my biggest project today. I'll probably think that daily, Harry, on, nah,
Oh wow.
this is enough. Yeah. Oh, you still question yourself every day. Right now, I've got a tenant who is not paying. On my final buy to let I've got left, tenant not paying. Um, they could probably go till January without paying before I can do anything about it. And
Wow,
we are
man, that's
now
fucking
on
horrendous, isn't
the
it?
what 7th of August. I see that challenge coming up, right? I've got, I've got big properties with big outlays, big mortgages on them, costs. Great in the summer, but I know that the winter's coming and I know that's when things get slow. So that is constantly in my mind. So this game is always at times where you think, do I really want to do this? I think I maybe went off topic there, and I'm
No,
not
it's
really
good, all
selling it
good,
to the
mate.
people that want to be in it, but I just want to be realistic that there's never a day goes where you think I've got it made here.
Yeah, and I think it's the same as anything, right? What goes back, what that takes my mind back to is Staz's talk at Bournemouth. You weren't there, were you?
I wasn't there,
No.
unfortunately.
He was talking about him and his team's expedition to the top of Mount Everest and back, and he was saying around that they wanted to be the fastest team to go from London to the top of Mount Everest and back, and they did it within 5 days, which is just like ridiculous.
That's wild.
But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, crazy. So, but obviously within this like story, there's a couple of things that they had to do. So, for maybe two or either a month or 2 weeks, he had to sleep in an altitude tent in his lounge. So every night when his like wife and kids went to bed, he had to put a mask on and sleep in this tent, which would essentially lower his oxygen levels, like to prepare to go up to the top of the mountain. And then also on the day three of their expedition, it was like a really horrendous snowstorm, windy as fuck, blah blah blah. And their guide, I can't remember the actual the phrase for the people that take you up Everest, but their guide was like, "Oh no, like this is too dangerous. We're gonna have to turn back." And they like obviously they're ex-SAS boys, right? And they got round and they were like, "Look, we'll carry on for an hour, and if it carries on, yeah, definitely we'll turn around." And the guy was like, all right, we'll carry on. And then he was like, what he didn't realize was he just made a really bad deal with SAS guys because every hour that it got worse, we were fucking carrying on. But anyway, and then the end of the his little like tangent, he said, people always see the photo of them at the top of the mountain with like all of the fucking gear looking unbelievable through dark flag. The obviously the peak of Mount Everest and like the view at the top, it looked unbelievable. But he said people always want the top of the mountain, but they don't want the journey to get there. And I think that's very relevant to me. Well, it's, do you know what? It's relevant to a lot of things, right? Like relevant to, Mr. Beast, the top of the YouTube game. Like, do you really want his life? I don't know. Like, if yeah, I look at him and he is like wired in a different way, and I'm not sure that I'd be able to have that. Obviously, in the property game, as you just mentioned, mate, you're going through like all of those stresses, your different seasons with your hotel. You've got you never know who's going to start renting from you, do you? Like that's the thing. It's not like a job interview where you fucking sit them down and you say, "Okay, let's have a little look at your job history," right? Like, and then physical achievements, ultra marathons, climbing Mount Everest. It's fucking hard. Like, and that's the thing.
No, you couldn't say it better. You know, we always do. Harry, you've run the London Marathon. I've run the London Marathon. I know the work that that takes. Okay. You know, doing any business, hitting 200 plus podcasts and that. They don't. Nobody sees the work that goes in. Um, for me, yeah, I stand on the doors. I can do the make the reels with the keys when you get the deal. When you open the doors, when you get the reviews. Of course, I'm going to shout about it because I'm proud about it and it takes a lot of work. But the majority of this world, and it's getting worse, do not want to put in any effort, never mind the effort that it takes to be consistent, to knock out 200 plus podcasts, to do open a hotel, to take on the next hotel, to climb Mount Everest. People say it, talk the talk. Very few actually are prepared to put in that work and that effort consistently to do it.
I mean, I appreciate your little link to 200 episodes, man. And I'm sure there's a similarity with you here. But whatever you put that much effort and time into, you've got to enjoy just a little bit, right?
100%, yeah. I mean, what's the point of doing anything if you don't enjoy it, right? So I can't talk about the podcast, but I can talk about the training with a marathon with you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You go and doing, for me, it was a Sunday morning, your long runs, so 18,
Yeah, Saturdays
20,
for me.
right? I got a kick out of it. Like of course, the endorphins at the end, but nobody's seeing that. Yeah, you might post an Instagram story running. You might post your Strava. Love posting the Strava when
Strava's, yeah.
yeah, right, right.
Strava wanker
But
me, mate, let me
yeah,
tell you.
yeah. Hey, listen, did you actually do it unless you actually show it? That's it's like anything really.
Exactly, man.
But the kick of knowing, and this is where I get the little sick is that the kick of knowing that I'm up before everybody else. I'm doing something that nobody else is doing. You're the 1% doing the marathon. You're the 1% doing podcasts. You're the 1% opening hotels. You're the elite. That gives me the kick. Do you know what else as well? And I'm gonna be honest because this is what drives me, is I know that people want me to fail. it's horrible to say, but I know people want me to fail.
Yeah, man.
I know that it's probably mates of mine in group chats that are watching, hoping, that are watching my stories, watching my posts, hoping that I fail. Do you know why? Because I was that person in that group chat talking shit about people that were actually doing stuff 7, 8 years ago. I was that person. I was the one in the boozer slating people if they were, trying to do something a bit different. So I've been there. I've been on that side of the fence. I feel I'm on the other side now. I know, and I'll be honest, Harry, that's my fuel. That's my fire. I know that are people that are wanting me to not succeed. Not because they hate us, or maybe they do, not but it'll just makes them feel a little bit better that someone that they know, someone that's a peer, someone that's a friend, someone that's a colleague isn't doing better than them. And it's a
Mate,
natural human trait. I don't take it personally, but I know, and that's why it pushes me a bit further.
do you know, man? Like a story from my side of my neck of the woods is that I still play local football, mate. And obviously, me being, I'm not afraid to put my face out on social media with the podcast, with talks on stage, with like whatever it is that I've done. And not, I haven't had loads of comments, mate, but like I've had some comments on the football pitch about stick that on the fucking podcast or like things like that. And you just like obviously 9 times. Do you know what as well? Normally 9 times out of 10, it comes back and bites the person on the ass that said it. Like in one of the games, I scored the winning penalty to take us through to a cup final. So it's like
Nice.
when you're like, it's local football. There's about 50 people watching, but that moment, like to just have that fucking fuck you, like thank you very much. Like there was no way I was missing that penalty in a million years. And then like teams from when we played teams in the county cup a couple seasons ago, it's like you like who the fuck do you think you are? I was like, well, you have heard of me then, haven't you? You know what I mean? Like, and it's just I just don't get it, mate. It's like there's something, do you know, I think it's probably one of the worst traits of human beings is that tall poppy syndrome thing. Like the green-eyed monster of jealousy, maybe in some people. And mate, look, I'm honest about this. This thing here, right? This podcast. Well, it has made me some money recently because somebody used my affiliate code to All Real to buy some protein bars for the first
Good.
time ever, right?
Right.
But it's made me nothing. The setup, the kit, like it's just because I enjoy it. And then obviously I have my coaching business and that does yeah, it brings me in some cash. But I don't do it for the money, mate. I do it because I do it for the long game. I think there's something about doing something with no reward right now, and maybe it'll pay off one day, right? That's maybe the truth. Maybe it will pay off. But there's something about just doing something, knowing that, like you say, there's people behind you that are like, oh, that's shit, or he's not done anything with it yet. Just keeping me going. Go on,
Right.
keep throwing those sticks on the fire because I'll fucking prove you wrong one day.
So I love this, right? Harry, I wish I could play still. In fact, I couldn't play back in the day, but I wish I could play. See that penalty, how do you deal with it? Do you give it the big fuck you in the face, or do you just quietly nod to yourself? Because I'm screaming in myself. See, when I achieve something, I'm screaming to give it the big
Yeah, yeah,
like that, right? But really, I just want to, hold a bit of the. Do you know what it is? It's a bit of the if I'll use, I think of footballers, I'll use the Jude Bellingham example of just sticking my arms out. That like that, that to me is if you can do that, if you can hold yourself, that's the way to answer the critics. Like
yeah. I
that's
think
it for
so,
me.
man. I didn't go and give it the big fuck you. In my head, it was like I could see the group that were like giving it big ones in like in your peripheral vision.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do, mate, was celebrate with the goal. My keeper who'd saved the penalty, like before I scored the winning penalty. But then just I was in self-protection mode, mate, because I got 15 other lads that want to come and fucking try and kill me. So, um, but obviously it's just like I don't care what anybody says as well. Like going into sport just quickly, when you score a penalty, there's more relief than there is anything.
I, I
Like,
scored, yeah, I scored in an under 18s cup final, and it was a long time ago, but I remember it well. And yeah, it is relief more than anything. So
yeah,
yeah,
and life's about moments like that though, man. Like I did I still watch WWE highlights and there's something about it's not about the like I if you stick me in front of a 40-minute WWE match, like I'm not like I'm not going, oh, this is incredible. I'm waiting for the moment that something happens that's out of the blue or something happens that it's a little bit special. And those moments in life, like you say, you scored in the under 18s cup final, which, maybe a few years ago now. I bet you remember that like it was yesterday. Like that moment where the
I
ball hit
still,
on the net.
wait, I still dine out on it, and it's 30 years
Yeah.
ago. Shit.
There's an Australian cricketer called Jason Gillespie, and
Yeah,
he's like he was a bowler, but he hit 200 in a test match once. And I know you're Scottish, so you probably don't like cricket too much.
I don't mind
Um,
it. Don't
oh,
mind
you
it.
don't mind? Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's surprising. You don't fit the stereotype there, then, mate. Um, but like it's like a running meme in the commentary world that he will mention this double hundred when he's commentating. And then, I think you've got to like your biggest moment, like it may never happen again. Like, and I just think you got to enjoy it. And that's why I love local football so much because I'm never going to play against Messi in a semi-final of the World Cup, but I have like winning trophies with my mates. That's the biggest game of football that we're ever going to play. Why not celebrate that?
100%, mate. And I love the fact of that as well. And I've still got friends that play, Saturday football, amateur football, for as long as they can because of that camaraderie. It's doing it with your mates. It's, achieving something together. So yeah, I completely get it. Yeah, no, I mean, if we're going back round on that circle, the achieving the stuff and doing it to drive yourself on, thinking that people are hoping that you fail. It's good fuel. You can't spend your whole life. It can't be your whole fuel system, but
No.
it's good fuel. And then listen, I will never ever like it myself, both mindset, ability, anything. But the last dance, Michael Jordan. I probably watch it once a year because I was a '90s kid, teenager in the '90s, Americana. I was bought in. I wore clothes thinking I was a hip hop guy. I watched basketball. I was heavy into it. Hip hop basketball. I thought I was the man, and Jordan was everything. And I look at how he creates something in his mind to give him the extra juice, because everyone wanted to get after him. Sometimes I so here and I'll wind it back. Sorry, you're talking about people calling you. So I had the best one this year, right? So I 48, never touched TikTok in my life. With Rob Roy in my hotel, I was like, do you know what? I'm creating reels on Insta. I need to be on TikTok. Uh, First reel or first post on TikTok, I got 100,000 views. Unbelievable. They were all about my hair, right?
Wow.
I had the worst fringe, and I can admit it now. So I went to my barber, and I wanted my hair like Gaza in 1990, when he signed for Lazio. Probably people would liken it to Phil Foden's recently, very straight fringe.
Oh yeah, the cut
I,
fringe.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I went with Gaza 1990. I ended up with Batley Hastings 1066. It was horrific, right? And I didn't see it, but I got caned in the comments on TikTok. Now, it was funny. I love getting stick. I love people getting into me, and I love dishing it out, right? So what happened was you had a social media piling, which happens. I'm laughing and laughing back and joking back. It then flipped it where everyone's like, actually, this is a good guy. He can laugh at himself. He can joke, and it went viral essentially. And I got bookings off the back of it. But I know my mates, like the some that were desperate to show each other. It would be in group chats, it would be all that, and it still comes up now. Now that was February, right? And people are still talking about. We were talking about it on Saturday past. A couple of mates talking about it on Saturday past, right? And so I know that that's what they hold on to. It's like
Yeah.
some people hold on. There's a bit. That's something we can get at him about. Maybe it's not, but if that's all that people can, get at you for, I know that they're hoping that more happens. I know that they're hoping that there's a bigger failure or there's something more that they can laugh at. So that's my juice to keep going and make sure that the only thing that they can laugh at me about is maybe my haircut.
Yeah, man. Bringing the convo back to well, my small amount of notes for today, mate. I'm sat here with a wall of medals behind me, which I think is pretty apt for our Craig today. One of your, I think your whole keynote was about the phrase "show us your medals." Tell us about that phrase and where you got it from.
Yeah, show me your medals. That's it. And I think it's very much a lot of what we've talked about earlier. It's just my way of it. It's having a go, Harry. It's going and achieving stuff. It's going and doing the marathon. It's doing the 200 podcast. It's doing the next property deal. It's pushing your boundaries and achieving something in life. Now, I'll not sum this by achieving. It's actually just having a go at something, right? It's not just talking a good game. I talked about that, and it's something I think that the whole world is about people that talk a good game because we've got even more ways to express ourselves now through podcasts, through social media, stories, reels, multiple platforms. There is just a world of people saying that they're going to do X, Y, and Z. And 1% will actually deliver on that. So the show me your medals thing actually comes from my dad. It's very much an analogy that he used about people that talk shit back in the day. And it comes from the football background. So he got it from a disagreement. So my dad, as you know, through family and through friends that he made back in the day, we've known footballers and we've known people in the game, right? And a big thing for people in the game was especially nowadays, you've got people talking the talk, podcasts, you've got coaches, you've got analytics, and shows your medals. What did you win in the game? Anybody can talk. Everybody can talk about football. Everyone's got an opinion on football, but his belief was unless you've played the game, unless you've went and done it, and show me your medals. You didn't have to win a league, you didn't have to win a cup, but if you've actually pulled on the boots and went and done it, then you've got more weight in the game than someone else. So he then applied it to business. It's like, oh, so you're going to do this, son? Aye, well, show us your medals. Well, like go and do it. Um, I said I was going to run a marathon. Well, I said I was going to run a half marathon. I was extremely overweight, and I went and done it because I knew that my old man would say, "Well, you said you were going to do that, but you never done it." So the showing me a medals is just having a go. It's failing. That's a medal. It's learning from it. It's going again. It's not giving up. These are all medals which tie in well. It's not just the medal for finishing or for winning or whatever. It's just actually having medals and going and doing stuff in life. And
Yeah.
my aim is that I'm going to accumulate as many medals as possible, whether that is properties, whether that's business ventures, whether that's personal development, whether that's setting myself goals and targets, because I want to show my kids. Is it for anyone else? Not really. It's for my own personal drive, and it's to show my kids. My big thing now is to raise two good human beings that want to have a go in life, that
Yeah,
want to
class.
that want to attack life, that to want to get after it, to show them that anything is possible. Um, because I fear for future generations that is becoming less and less. So if I can raise two children that are polite, that are conscientious, that want to make an impact and want to do their best, they'll do fine in life. So yeah, I want to do it for myself because I feel that I need to push myself. I feel like I'm a very lazy person and I have to set myself these goals or else I'll just drift. And then it's also setting an example for my kids as well.
So many things I could dive into there, mate. I think one of the things I think we all forget about as humans is that, like, naturally, prehistorically, whatever the word you want to use, as like Homo sapien, like we are naturally wired to protect our energy. So everybody's got a tendency to, if you have the opportunity to sit down on a sofa and watch 5 hours of Netflix and you allow yourself to do it, you're gonna fucking do it because that's kind of like what's within us. But when you've got outside drivers, like, you want to leave your kids in a good place when you're not around. You want to prove a point to your dad or to the haters in the background, maybe. Then that gives you a drive, and I think you've got like one of the things that people forget is that you've got to have a why to your why, and that needs a why as well. And then when you've got like as many why you want to do things as possible, like kids, to prove yourself wrong, to prove other people wrong, to make your dad proud, whatever it is, that's when the goals start to become more and more achievable. I've got a question I want to ask you about your kids, and it's about you as well. So I know like you're reliable, you're obviously courageous because you've made those investments in things that may there have been a big risk to them and stuff. So what would be the trait if you were to leave one of your traits with your kids? What would you leave them with?
At all times, push through the comfort zone, push the comfort zone, push the comfort zone. Do not sit in that space of everything is comfortable. Um, yeah, the only, there's so many different sayings about, what you want is on the other side of, discomfort and everything like that. It's literally just pushing yourself that anything worth achieving is not easy. That's all I can get them to get the drive. Now, yeah, I was the lazy fat bastard, right? That it took something to click in my brain, and it happens at different stages in life. I love someone like yourself, Harry, who's been at it for years now, but at a young age where you've got longevity. I feel I came to it a bit late, is what it is, but it was in my 40s and life changing scenarios that gave me that drive. But so I'm hoping that my kids have got that from day one because then anything is possible. But yeah, it's pushing the comfort zone, not sitting in that pocket of comfort because that's the real hurt. Um, I mean, if I can go off topic here, my hard yards, my drive, my determination, we are not far, and I use we because it's myself and my wife at the business, but Laura, we're not far from being in a position in the next 18 months, 12, 18 months, where we have created everything that I set out to do, which was a business that other people have funded, they've been repaid, and I now be able to work a few hours a week and generate a lifestyle and an income because it's not about money, it's just having been able, having the freedom, right? So I've almost created my freedom. And now what I thought, hitting that mountain, hitting that achievement, it's not what I thought it was going to be because I can already see what am I going to do with my time? It's all very well having that goal, and everyone aims for retirement, aims for not working, right? And Laura and I talk about it regularly. Now, what do you do? We already have more time than others. As far as yeah, we're constantly on, and the business is constant. It's a 24/7 business, but we have freedom windows. And unless you've got that next challenge, that comfort zone appears again. It becomes even bigger because the monetary side is not driving you. So it's so easy to slip back. Um, so that's a question I'm really asking myself at the minute. And I need to find that next push of the comfort zone. And whether that's giving back in the community, whether that's more projects, I don't know what that is. But yeah, sorry, when
No,
I can
I
talk.
love that,
You
mate.
know I can talk. So I just want my kids to be able to say, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep pushing.
It's such a weird concept, isn't it? Retirement, because again, it's not about talking from a place of disrespect or like thinking that people don't know anything, but like early on in my life, the thought process around life was like you get a job, you maybe like pay into a pot for a pension, and then one day, hopefully, obviously the fucking retirement age now is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we're the only country in the world that just allows it to keep going up without doing anything about it. But again, that's a subject for another day. You retire and then maybe you buy a nice set of golf clubs and once a week you go down the driving range and once a week you go for a round of golf with your pals and then like it's sort of really sad, isn't it? But then one at a time, like you all start fucking copping it.
Mhm.
Like, is that really kind of or fishing or whatever your thing is? And I don't know, man, like there has to be more to life than just building to retirement. But mate, I think when you do have that shift of thought and when you do have that shift of purpose and like when you're somebody even like for myself, like I'm good at relaxing, but in my head there's always a after I've relaxed I want to do this. You know, that thing. And I think that retirement And that feeling about retirement changes when your identity shifts to somebody who's a bit of a like, I'm going to use the word doer, and like and like things happen like by me now. Like I know that I can make things happen, and then we could talk about like the levels of consciousness and stuff.
Yeah,
And I'm trying to get into the next bracket, but right now I'm still probably in that level of like I want to make things happen, right? Um, and I just wish that lesson could be shared to more and more people, because I think it's something that's bypassed in life by so many. And they just kind of get caught in that trap of like 40 years service at somewhere. And you're like, you know what? Fair fucking play. Like, I wish that I could live my life like that in some ways, because there'd be so much less stress. But then at the same bracket, without that stress, I wouldn't be who I am right now.
correct. So many different things there that you could go on tangent. And I thought that's what I wanted was to retire as early as possible. Okay. Um, and then to do what? That's all very well. It's to do what? Also enjoying the journey because, for example, you throw the scenario of, start work, end game in mind, build the pension pot up, retire, golf club, bowling club, holidays, whatever it is, right? I, for a period, worked in the DWP. After the financial crash, I got a job with the job centre, funnily enough, because the job centres were full. And I saw people ticking off their days to get what was known as the final salary pension within public sector. These were the holy grail where
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got, like literally half of your final salary as a pension plus a lump sum. People weren't living. Look back now, people weren't living, they were just living the same year over and over again, aiming for this day. Now they might never reach it. They might, use the analogy, they could get hit by a bus, or they've worked all these days and then within 6 months of so a big thing for me is enjoying the journey. Is this fun? Some days not, but some of the stories are amazing and reliving it and knowing that I got through it. So yeah, living life right now with all the ups and downs so that if it did end tomorrow, you know that you've done something with it,
Mm.
rather than just trying to get through the best days of your life for an end goal that you might never ever get to. So yeah, the living in the moment, you know, being grateful for everything that happens, the good, the bad, the ugly, um, and just trying to achieve things in life is the game. And I've realized now that getting that there's never the finish line. That position of where we're going to be in 12 or 18 months with all being well, it's like that's just a step. What is the next step? And I need to think about what that next step is. You talk great about relaxing. At this minute in time, I just don't. I am on all the time. And I try and relax with football. I try and relax with.
Can't
Um,
do that with Rangers, mate.
well, this is what I was saying. So I'm all about. Do you know what? It is what it is. I let I can let things go. I was minutes away from losing 40 grand on a deal. I found out about that when we were going on stage. I've talked about that
Oh
when me
yeah.
and you were on, right? Whatever, right? But yet, I put my mental health in the hands of 11 guys in a blue jersey and a bag of air, right? That I have zero control over, which sounds ludicrous to the majority of people. Yet you and I both know you can't control that emotion, right? So I'm then saying, well, right, I've got kids football, which I love, but again, 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, like I'm all about let's have fun, kids. I turn into prime Mourinho on a Sunday morning. Let's win, right? I'd kick my own granny to get that win, on a Sunday morning. So like, I know that I talk rubbish when it comes to this. It's like I need to. I don't know what my next step is on the next phase of my life and I need to find that. And that's exciting as well as scary. Do you know what I mean? So, if we go a long way around, there's never an end goal. For some people, the end goal was retirement, was that pension pot. But then what do you do with it? Is it just sitting, looking at the television, looking at the same four walls, which I've got people close to me that are doing that right now because they thought that's what the dream was. And yeah, they're getting away on a few holidays a year, great. But that's like 5 days a week within 52. So it's a challenge. I don't have the answers. I think the beauty is not knowing the answers and being fine with that.
Mate, I think little tangent before I do the traditional kind of 100% ending. There's always that like I've been an admirer of James Smith from for a long time, like since the days that I wanted to learn how to lose fat, to obviously even now with his business mentorship, I watch a lot of his YouTube videos. He says that when he started out, he wrote down the names of the fitness influencers essentially that he wanted to beat the followings of. And then it was like, so he'd like tick one off and he'd be like, oh yeah, that's good. Like, let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. And then it was a guy called Lane Norton, who's like super fucking successful American nutritionist slash influencer online. He was huge in like the late 2010s
Hmm.
and he got more followers than him. But even though he had more followers than him, when he met him in an airport, he had like got a bit of starstruckness. But he said every milestone that he hit, it was never the feeling that he thought he was going to get, but the journey towards towards the milestone was better than the actual milestone. And like, there's a couple of these medals up here that like they mean loads, you know, like the London Marathon one. Like, I'll never forget that day in my whole life and getting over that finish line when I had horrendous cramp to get over the line. Like, that was an amazing moment. But all, like as you said earlier, that process of every Tuesday interval runs, every Thursday small, like no strain on the body, 4 or 5 miles, and then Saturday, fuck knows how far, 19 miles, like legging it round Somerset. Like, that was the journey that made that all worth it. All of the like the early January mornings where it's freezing fucking cold, like I've got gloves on and I still couldn't feel my hands. Like, that moment made it all worth it. And I think if people can realize that, like, it's not the freestone, it's not the fucking 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, it's not the 1 million in the bank account maybe, or whatever it is. It's not that. It's the bits before it that actually make it all worth it. I think would be, yeah, everyone would be better off for that.
You couldn't say it any better, Harry. So I'll give you an example. Um, 31st of October 2024, and Laura and I spent the night in our own hotel.
Well,
Right?
yeah.
We opened, well, we hadn't opened yet. We were the first guests to stay in the place, just ourselves, and we're sat having a bottle of champagne in the lounge in our own hotel, right? Buzz. By the 4th of November, nah.
Yeah, I know,
Like
mate.
literally, that was it. We went through 18 months of hard work and ups and downs and lefts and rights and extra costs and everything. And you got one night, couple of days, and then it was okay. There is that like is that all? Was that it? It was horrific. I actually felt low for a couple of days, but then also, man, there you go. You've got to one mountaintop. There's another one to go. There's another one to go, and enjoying the process. If people just realize that, yeah, it's hard. It's supposed to be hard. Um, but looking back, you get so much from it. And I mean, some of the stories, like you've had them, I've got them. Could probably write a book that people wouldn't believe. And at the time, you thought it was the end of the world. And if you don't control that mind, it probably could send you off track. But it is what it is. Let's just keep going. And another medal. It's another medal gained. The,
Yeah,
the, the medal of owning the hotel is no better, no worse, no bigger, or no smaller than the medal of getting to, getting the keys, knocking the first wall down, putting the first, en suite in. They're all the same. They all mean the same in the end.
I'm real, man. I think that's such a lovely takeaway. Okay, last couple questions before we wrap up the episode, mate. The feeling of 100% or the just the phrase 100%, what does it mean to you?
In everything that I do for business, for my family, and for myself, is to you can't always give 100%, you can't always be 100%, is striving to be the best you can be and getting that little bit better every day in all those aspects. Being a better dad, being a better husband, being a better business owner, being a better person, striving for those, you know, whether it's, that you're going to be 100% or those gains, it's ultimately just trying to be the best you can be.
I'm real, mate. Final question for today's episode, mate, before we get people to come and find you if they want to. Hold on a second. This is like so automatic normally. Oh, yeah, there you go. What is the greatest bit of advice you've ever been given?
Oh, I would say, oof, wow. That is a wonderful, wonderful question. I think, we will even give nods to Paul Moore. He's given me so much. I think the one um, that I use daily, that I journal on weekly, is um, discipline plus consistency equals success. If you're consistent and you're disciplined, you will always get a positive outcome. Like, no matter what that is, um, and that is, it's not pushing it. It's just doing the small things, the little wins, and building that up over time and recording it and seeing how well you're improving. That will always lead to success in anything that you do.
Mate, what an amazing episode today has been. If people do want to come and find out more about you, your portfolio, or they want to come and find out about where they can stay in your hotels and things like that, where can they come and find you, mate?
Thank you. Yes, so mainly just on Instagram, and then it links into Facebook. I believe it's Craig AA Rowan. So my middle name's are Andrew Alexander. Throws everybody off. They're like, "Oh, have you mistyped that?" No, it's Craig AA Rowan. Um, Rob Roy Boutique Accommodation is our flagship hotel in Berwick upon Tweed, and you can find that under robroy.berwick on Instagram.
We'll put it in
And
the
then
comments of the episode, mate.
thank you, mate. And then the next project, which we may have the keys by the time this is released, is the Tankerville Arms, which is a 17-bedroom hotel that we're taking on in Wooler, which is north of Northumberland.
Oh,
And that, if you're interested in the journey of developing property, that's the one to follow, because it's all the updates. It's pulling down the walls. It's showing behind the scenes. We talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Um, we'll tell you if things are going over budget. We'll tell you if we've had issues with planning. We'll tell you if we've had issues with trades. It makes great content, and I just like to show the reality of it all. So anyone who's Rob Roy's the finished article, and we're very proud of it. But let's be honest, who follows a hotel? I don't.
yeah,
I'll
yeah, yeah.
find a hotel when I want to go somewhere. But if you want to follow the real nuts and bolts, then keep an eye on my socials, and we'll link to the new Insta page and things like that for the Tankable.
Amazing, mate. If you have enjoyed today's episode with Craig Rowan and I on the 100% podcast, please go over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Make sure you subscribe and follow the show and leave that 5-star review. And if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe below. It does help push the show out to new audiences and is very, very helpful for me. I'll see you here with a new episode every Friday. Take care.